I've broken some rules. I trim my own bangs at home. I couldn't help myself. The purpose of this video, however, is to share with you my attempt to dupe a palette that Erin Nicole recently reviewed on her channel. I fell in love with the palette. I fell in love with the look. Of course, she's gorgeous. However, because of my trunk club expenses in April, I've already tapped out my budget, and I feel like it would be irresponsible for me to jump over to Chanel and on a whim purchase that palette. If you'd like to see how I attempted to dupe her look, let's get going. Hello, my name is Mary. Thank you for stopping by. The purpose of today's video is really for me to talk myself out of purchasing the new 5-pan eye palette from Chanel. It's part of their cruise collection, and I feel that I'm close on the swatches. When I'm attempting to dupe a look, it might be very different from how you would dupe a look. I'm looking for undertone, texture, and finish. This pink leaning palette is very difficult for me to pull from. Part of the temptation for me for this palette is it really would be an outlier in my stash. I don't have anything like it in my current stash. So while that makes it unbearably tempting, the palette is $62. I did blow quite a hole in my budget for April with my recent trunk club. And as I was sitting down to inventory my blushes, this is the perfect time to attempt to dupe that look. So let me share with you the swatches moving from lightest to darkest. The lightest is a very pinkish, shimmery highlight, brow highlight color. And the way I'm attempting to dupe that is with my Chantecaille Paillette highlighter. So let's see what we get out of that. Right there. The next color is a super faint pink, and I have a couple options. This is a little sample size NARS blush in Orgasm. I'm thinking that will work to replicate that just faint pink look on the lid. We shall see. That was probably my toughest color to dupe, and one of my options was this Tweed Pink Blush by Chanel, which I will swatch right next to it. You tell me what you think. One of those will be my option. I don't know if I can dupe frankly all 5 of these shades. I'm going to attempt it with, I was hoping this pink Charlotte Tilbury in Pretty Blush would get close in intensity and tone. And then for that real pop of pink, I'm going to dip into my new Chanel blush in Rose Pétillante. And this one is just poppin' pink. There it is in the pan. There it is swatched. And that leaves really just the brown. For the brown, I'm dipping into my 9-pan Chanel Cruise palette. This deepest tone up here seems to be my only brown that hits both the chestnut and the red undertone. There you go. Okay, I will put my swatches side by side with, let's jump right into the look. I've got all of my base down, concealer, even brows. I'm just going to be finishing my eyes on camera. Okay, so Erin Nicole goes right in with a blending brush to that highest intensity peach shade. So I'm going to attempt the same. She has very different shaped eyes from me, but I feel there's quite a bit of kick up with this blush. I feel that I'm getting the same kind of color payoff. What do you think? Okay, she really builds up quite a bit of color on the all the way across the crease. So I'm going to do the same. Okay, now she takes a flat shader and dips into the lighter. And let's see, so she is actually going into the lighter, which is the shade that doesn't quite show up on my swatches. So I'm first of all going to try the Tweed Pink. Let's see what we can get. All over the lid. I don't think I have enough shimmer there. And her sample is definitely more shimmery. So, but it wasn't the lightest light. Why don't I dip into one of these other Charlotte Tilbury? This feels more like it. This is the pink highlighter from the Charlotte Tilbury face palette. It seems to be closer to the effect that Erin Nicole got. A little shimmerier. Okay, now she's going into that super highlighty shimmery pink. So I'm doing the same thing, picking up my Chantecaille. Oh, my dog. And I'm getting nothing like her look. So far this is a fail. Let me jump into my Laura Geller highlighter in Portofino and my finger. Okay, that's a little more like it. The darkest brown now. Outer corner, outer V with a smaller round brush. Coming up on the hood a little bit. Just building slow layer. Okay, she's going in with a pencil brush and that original coral shade, which would be my intense blush. Certainly outside my comfort zone. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Definitely need something to ground it, and I need something on my cheeks, so I happen to have my Wayne Goss airbrush, and I think it's sensible to use that same blush on my cheeks to tie everything together. Maybe I'll do a little bit of that drapey thing, or attempt. I am rank amateur, which is just the same as saying I'm passionate about it, but I don't necessarily, I'm not your go-to source. And I share this stuff just so you can sort of learn with me. I do like a pop of pink on the cheeks. Maybe when I ground my eyes with some liner and mascara, I'll like the effect better. Let's do that. I will do that off camera. I'll come back with my final thoughts. I did want a nude-ish pink lip, so I jumped back into my Chanel Rouge Coco Flash in the shade Jour, in the shade 90 Jour. This is what it looks like swatched, and it is super pretty, super hydrating, and I thought it tied together this kind of out of my comfort zone pink look a little. What do you think? Too much pink? I don't know. Overall thoughts. I think duping the look is a relatively low risk way to try a look, try a palette to determine whether or not it's something you would actually wear before investing in a palette. And I feel that for that reason, this was fun to do. I'm not sure it agrees with my skin tone. I'm not sure it agrees with my overall skin tone. To me, this look really pulls out the greens in my flesh. So let me know down in the comments if you think it makes me look like a green corpse. We can all tend to be a little bit too hard on ourselves. But it was fun. It did, when I was putting it on my eyes, it really emphasized the blues at my lid. So maybe something along the lines of playing around with it with my MAC paint pot in Painterly before I go in with such a cool pink look might make sense for my coloring. But it was fun, and I saved myself $62 or so, $65 I think those palettes are. And every time I attempt to follow somebody else's tutorial, I learn something else about myself and about what works for me. So that all of those things made it a worthwhile experiment. I'll have to look at the footage and to come to some final conclusions about whether or not I like such a pink look. I think it probably has its places, just like an overall glam gold look would. I just am unsure how frequently I would wear something like this. Or maybe it's a perfect summer look. I'm a terrible judge of how things look on myself, so I would appreciate your feedback in the comments. And thank you again for joining me on this journey to figure out my face and the theater of my identity. See you next time. Ciao.